देश के इतिहास में कई साल बाद ऐसा मौका सामने आएगा जब रेल बजट अलग से पेश नहीं किया जाएगा, बल्कि आम बजट का ही हिस्सा होगा। केंद्रीय वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली ने मंगलवार को रेलवे के रोड मैप पर चर्चा की। वित्त मंत्री ने संकेत दिए कि इस बार के रेल बजट में कोई लोक लुभावन घोषणाएं नहीं की जाएंगी। करीब 1 महीने बाद जेटली आम बजट पेश करेंगे।
Which I'd like to share with you. Coming year, there will be a first after some 9 decades plus, where there will be no railway budget and it will be merged into the union budget. And it must be said to the credit of the legacy that the British left behind, that amongst the few areas of industry or communication that they created was the Indian Railways. The road network was by and large ignored. Countries in Europe and the United States had developed an advanced highway and road network. In US, that is used more than the railways itself. But we did develop at that time a fair amount of network of the railways, and that became the principal instrument of travel and communication in India. And of course, today the railways, though operated by the government, is living in a competitive world. There is no competition within the railways because there is no alternative railway as you have in other parts of the country with which the Indian Railways has to compete with. But you are now going to increasingly compete with other modes of communication. You have a highway sector which has developed in the last 15 years, which is giving the railways a real run for its money. And in terms of passenger traffic now, with the airline network, and now with this renewed emphasis on regional airlines, which would also be partly subsidized by center and states in terms of revenue concessions and otherwise, even for travel purposes, the railways is going to face a big competition. And the fact that people have now these two developed alternative modes, and I read today in the newspapers that despite the currency crunch in the month of November, the airline sector was still booming, which also shows the kind of competition it is giving to the railways. And therefore, even though there is no competition within the railway network, there is competition that you have from the alternative modes of travel and communication and transporting cargo. And therefore, unless both in performance as also in its internal management you are able to maintain the highest of standards, the dangers of losing out in competition will always be there. And the last few years, it has started reflecting on the pressure on your earnings and accounts. Normally, people don't give up their turf so easily, but because of this pressure, this time the railways is over keen that the finance ministry takes over the railway budget itself, because the burden of supplementing what is lagged behind really becomes our problem. How do we convert this into an opportunity? I recollect, and this is on a lighter note, that I have only got an opportunity once in the last 2 decades to speak on the railways in Parliament.
बस फिर तैयार हो जाइए, नोटबंदी के बाद इंतजार कीजिए बजट का, जिसमें कुछ राहत मिलने की अगर संभावना हो भी, तो भी जेटली की बाइट से तो ऐसा नहीं लग रहा कि बजट जनता के हित में होगा। NMF न्यूज की रिपोर्ट।